My name's Nicole. It's very nice to meet you, Jason. We got to speak a little bit yesterday, so I'm with Kintone, content marketing over there, and we're talking a lot about no-code, low-code, but first, if you can tell me a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got interested in following everything going on with the no-code, low-code movement.
Okay, well, I'm president of Iintellyx, and Iintellyx is an industry analyst firm focused on agile digital transformation, which means that we focus on the problem space more than a particular technology area, really trying to help that digital professional understand how all the different trends in enterprise IT fit together. So one of these important trends is the low-code, no-code movement, and in fact I've been following it for many years in different forms, so now that it's getting a lot more attention, that's something I'm writing about.
And why do you think it's gotten a lot of attention? And I mean, I know you've also penned an article recently for Forbes about the rise of the citizen developer and how it's kind of putting to bed, turning off the lights for shadow IT. So how did this all evolve? Why in the last year or two has it really exploded?
Well, 10, 15 years ago, back when I was at ZapThink, we worked with a number of vendors who were trying to do the same kind of thing. So you may remember Tenfold or Wakesoft or WebPutty, and none of these companies exist anymore because it was really too hard a problem at that point in time. You know, building a set of modular tools for assembling applications, there just wasn't enough maturity in the underlying technology to support this kind of capability. But that's really changed now because we have a deeper technology, and so the vendors in this space, whether it's Kintone or OutSystems or QuickBase or some of the others, they're building platforms that have a variety of underlying capabilities that support the ability for now business users or other people to create applications by assembling modular components in a way that provides a much greater flexibility for the business user, because the platforms themselves take care of security, take care of integration, take care of a lot of the heavy lifting under the covers. That's the hard part. Building these platforms is difficult. Making it easy to assemble applications, that's a difficult challenge.
And who are these no-code, low-code applications for?
Well, you said low-code and no-code, and actually that indicates rather a spectrum of capabilities. So at one end you might, you look at OutSystems, and they're more of a low-code platform. That is, their platform is for developers who are building applications, and it helps them build them more quickly. So for instance, with OutSystems, if you have a web-based app, you can essentially push a button and generate the mobile equivalent. So it's very straightforward for the developer, but it's aimed at that developer audience. So at the other extreme would be QuickBase. They used to be part of Intuit, but now they're independent, and their citizen developers are typically business users with no coding experience whatsoever. And QuickBase gives them a lot of these modular components like form elements and workflow elements and graphical elements, and it's really just a drag and drop environment. And you can build reasonably powerful applications as well. So Kintone I'm not as familiar with, but they're more on the no-code side with QuickBase than the low-code, or what we used to call rapid application development, which is where OutSystems fits in.
Sure, and can you tell me a little bit about what people are building? What actual kinds of practical applications are people building and using on a daily basis?
Well, they could be any kind of enterprise class application. So there's a lot of workflow products, or timesheet products, or project management applications, or it's really the sky's the limit in terms of the capabilities that you can build. So one way of thinking of it is to understand that if you don't have this kind of tool, well, what are you going to use? And typically the fallback is emailing Excel files around, right? So you have the email, you have the Excel files, and email and Excel files, Excel is a powerful application, but it's not very collaborative, and it's difficult to manage workflows with it. So email as well is the standard collaboration tool of choice, but it's hard to manage sequences of events, and again, it's difficult to collaborate with a group of people. We're all we've all had our horror stories with the reply all, right? There's only so much you can do with reply all in email, right? So a lot of these low-code and no-code tools or platforms are enabling business users to build applications that are better than emailing Excel files around. So what would you want to do? Well, you have tabular data, and you want to have some sort of workflow, and it could be anything from timesheets to project management to financial analysis. There's any number of different types of enterprise level applications that you could build, and now you don't have to email Excel files around.
All very good things, compelling reasons to try and see if the space is for you. And so where do you see things going in the next couple years with this movement, cloud computing, but particularly with this movement?
Well, the trend is for more powerful capabilities that require less and less coding. So even with some of the no-code platforms, there's still a role for code. You know, if you want to do some sort of custom business logic, you may have to drop into JavaScript or something like that. Or if you look at ServiceNow, for example, they have a number of pre-built service management applications, but they're also a low-code platform for building custom applications. But again, it typically requires some level of JavaScript skills. So I would say that over time, there's going to be more and more capabilities that you can obtain from these kinds of platforms without even a little bit of JavaScript, right? As we can build more and more capabilities. And these are enterprise class capabilities, so legacy integration, sophisticated security and governance, the ability to audit not just the applications themselves, but who's building them and who's changing them. So we have this ability to support the citizen developer, citizen integrator in an enterprise environment. So now we have the self-service notion of application creation, but still within the context of a secure and governed environment. So IT is stepping up to the plate and supporting this as a way of empowering business users, but still maintaining the security, governance, and access to systems of record, which are really the core duties of the transformed IT organization.
Just have to ask, since we're talking about IT stepping in and becoming still more involved in this, it's not taking away jobs necessarily. However, Forrester in a recent report did say, or maybe not so recent, but at least not too long ago, by 2020, the IT department could be almost disassembled. Any thoughts on that comment?
Well, I think it's really more that it's an ongoing process of transformation. So you may not recognize the IT department, but it may be called something else. But it's an ongoing process of transformation rather than some sort of one day we wake up and we don't have an IT department. It's not going to be sudden. And this has been going on for many years, right? It was data processing, then it was MIS, and then it was IT, and so it's been evolving for many years. But the real shift that's happening today is the shift from IT as gatekeeper to IT as enabler. So for many years, basically the pattern was that the business wanted all this capability, but IT had to lock down what they supported because supporting applications was difficult, expensive, and there were all these security and governance issues. So IT would essentially have an approved list of applications that the business could use, and line of business executives felt overly constrained and would go around IT, and that led to the shadow IT problem. Well, we can't afford that anymore, right? The organizations aren't supporting that role for IT. IT has to be an enabler of self-service capabilities. So we still want IT to help make sure things are secure and governed, but without limiting the ability of the business to do what it needs to do. And that's a whole new way of thinking about IT that is transforming traditional IT to support this digitally enabled end-to-end self-service model.
Very well said. Jason Bloomberg, Iintellyx president, thanks so much. On behalf of Kintone, appreciate this conversation and enjoy the rest of your time at Cloud Expo.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right.